were getting a huge push when you first came to WWE, and then an incident occurred with the Iron Sheik. You want to just go into
Sure,
that?
yeah. The worst thing about that whole arrest with me and the Iron Sheik is that folks think me and the Sheik are friends. And we're not friends. I gave the guy a ride one day, and long story short, I had some marijuana under my seat and we were drinking beers. And the trooper pulled us over, and it was in the 80s, I wasn't drunk, I was just sipping on a beer, so I was surprised I got pulled over. He's like, you can't do that. I'm like, in New Jersey. I'm like, I live in Louisiana, I'm sorry. He said, well, I got to give you a ticket for that. And he said, well, he spelled the marijuana. He says, you got any marijuana? Or he said, you got anything else you want to tell me about? And I figured, well, he's going to search the car anyway. I said, yes, sir, I got a small amount of marijuana under my seat, and of course, boom, he hooked me right up and locked me up, put the cuffs on me. Then he pulled the Sheik out of the car, and the Sheik had 3 grams of cocaine. So it was a huge arrest. Sheik had to go in front of a judge and everything, but we still made the show that night. And after the show, we went home, and I called my wife. I said, to the hotel, I said, we got arrested, but I don't think anybody knows. She calls me the next day. She goes, everybody knows. So my first call to was my dad, God bless him, and he chewed me out a little bit, but my family really rallied behind me. And my second call was to Vince McMahon, and never before have I gotten through so quickly with Vince. And Vince, I remember verbatim, he goes, Jim, what have you done to us? And I said, Vince, I'm embarrassed and ashamed, and whatever you do, I understand. And he says, well, turn in your tickets and go home, because we used to have a big stack of airplane tickets. And he canned me. It looked like it was the end of my career at WWF or E at that time. And my buddy Jake, the Snake, tried to schmooze it over, but he called me. He says, you're screwed. And so I was like, well, that's when I called Dusty down at WCW. I set a meeting up to go down and see Dusty. And before I got there, WWE called me back up and said, just lay low, we're going to bring you home, or bring you back. But I never regained the big push I was getting then. They always kept me kind of strong, but they never put the heavy gas on me. So it was really hamstringed my career.
Do you think you may have had like an Ultimate Warrior style push if that incident hadn't occurred?
Well, I don't know about Ultimate Warrior style push, but I think they were kind of grooming me for a championship for a while. Who knows which one, but especially in the beginning when I first came up, the people were with me. WrestleMania 3, I had a big part in it. I mean, I actually went from the penthouse to the shit house on one deal, and I was lucky to survive that arrest. I think that would have killed a lot of guys' careers.